Well, this is interesting. I've just been trying to analyse this morning's trade, and I was getting really confused looking at this chart. And apologies if that sounds terrible to you, because I should imagine I shouldn't be confused about my own charts, but it's just highlighted a bug in the crossover alert, and so I was trying to work out why, in order to talk you through the trade, what was going on this morning. And this arrow has printed on the wrong candle, and we know that for a fact, because why would it print on the close of a candle that is showing a lower level than the candle that this morning this had actually alerted me on? Because when I started this morning at 6 a.m. we already had a an alert on the hourly chart, and it stands to reason, and we were in the process of this pullback, which is really quite bizarre. So I'll have to remember that in future, or try and adjust the indicator to work correctly. It must be something to do with the calculations of the moving average crossover, whether it prints on the close, open, high, median, or whatever. It must be something to do with the programming. So anyway, to clarify things, the alert for the hourly actually happened on the close of this candle. So I was actually looking for a potential trade as a result of that. I need to get rid of that level there. That was part of the previous analysis, trying to work out what was going on with this whole scenario, because it just didn't look right. Anyway, so we had the alert. I wanted a pullback. This was a great looking chart, because it was, yesterday we had a bit of a problem because we dropped below the trend line. Today we were still below that trend line in effect, but the power of the up move, and the potential for it to continue long, in my opinion, was so great that I actually sorry about that, don't know what that is, that I actually decided to have a go for a few more pips, in the light of the fact that this moved 450 pips yesterday and something like 300, or between the 2 days, so it must have been 500 odd yesterday, and it's about, I think it was about 4 something the day before, so 420 or something. So I went for 25 pips, cut a long story short, but let's drill down. So apologies that the indicator, I hadn't noticed this, or I had, I think, noticed it once, but not really put 2 and 2 together and made 4. So, dropping down, the 30-minute had alerted well before the hourly, but what that meant was that we were still trading against this hourly alert, which I don't want to really be doing. So I didn't want to really get involved in a trade just here as a result of this 30-minute stuff. And what do I always say? I want the alert to be close to the as close to the 6 a.m. start as possible. Otherwise, it could easily just be fading off and come down in the opposite direction, as it were. So here we can see the second important thing in today's analysis was the fact that we developed a 15-minute reversal to the downside, which meant categorically I needed to wait for a 15 minutes to the long side, which is actually very nice, because now we've formed this nice uptrend, low, high, high, low, high, high. And basically there's nothing else you can do except wait for that. So it's a very relaxing way to trade, really, using these rules that never trade in the wrong direction according to the arrows, really. Occasionally you will be able to trade a 30 against an H1 if you can identify the in a long trade a really seriously useful target for the price, something like a long H1 candle. That means you've got a lot of space between them, so there's no interim resistance or support levels. But that's more technical, and that's something that possibly I'll put on a video at some stage. Anyway, back to today's trade. So waited for the 15-minute alert. And then, as you can see, what I needed really was some sort of pullback. Well, we were having the pullback. This is almost identical to yesterday's scenario, because it was highly likely we weren't going to get, at this time of day, 7:45, so coming up to 8 o'clock in the morning, we weren't going to get a very strong pullback. In fact, they did pull it back a little bit further, and led me to suffer some drawdown, which wasn't particularly nice. But here, as you can see, if we move this indicator, or this vertical line along, we were down, down, down on the M1. The minute the M1 printed up, alerted me to the upside, that was when I hit the trade. And as you can see, it finally hit its target with a lot to and fro, which you expect, although yesterday it flew, if memory serves me correct. But you know, it's just the way trading is. If I'd wanted to go from the 7 or 8 pips, then I would have got that clearly fairly quickly, within 15 minutes. If I'd been careful and gone for the next 25 marker, that would have happened a lot sooner. And just had to suffer all this to and fro by the big boys. But que sera, I was out walking, so it doesn't really matter. You put your stops on and put your take profit on, and just wait for the trade to do its stuff. So thank you for watching again. Another day, another positive result, and following exact same rules all the time. An H1 alert, beautiful thing.